Zelensky returns from Washington with hope as Putin pours scorn on American arms. Damning House committee report recommends criminal investigation into Donald Trump's role in the Capitol riots. German spy arrested on suspicion of passing secrets to Russia. Inflation blamed as pay disputes halt French trains and see British paramedics on picket lines.
Nice to see you. How are you?
How are you? Thank you so much. Thank you for meeting.
Back from Washington, Volodymyr Zelensky held a warm meeting with Polish President Andrzej Duda before recording the daily message for his own citizens. We are coming back from Washington with good results, with something that will really help. When we say patriots in Ukraine and in the United States, we equally mean the protection of the state and people. The issue has been resolved for Ukraine. There is also financial support. There are other agreements. We will talk about them later. Putin, for his part, used a formal news conference to pour scorn on both the agreement and the American weapons system. As far as the Patriots are concerned, it's a pretty old system and it doesn't work like, say, our S-300. Well, nevertheless, I mean, those who oppose us are proceeding on the assumption that it's supposedly a defensive weapon. All right, we'll just keep that in mind. And an antidote can always be found. So those who do this, they do it in vain. It only drags out the conflict. That's all it is. Russian Defense Ministry pictures purportedly showing Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu visiting forward positions amid Moscow's claims the front line remains stable and well supplied for a long fight through 2023. One man, Donald Trump, lit the flame for the massive assault on the US Congress on January the 6th, 2021. So says the report produced after 18 months of investigation by the House committee charged with determining what happened on that fateful day.
We're going to walk down, anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol. Freedom!
The report asserts that Donald Trump criminally engaged in a multi-party conspiracy to overturn the legal results of the 2020 presidential election and failed to act to stop his supporters from attacking the Capitol. 5 people died as a result of the violence. In a first in American history, the committees recommended the Department of Justice investigate a former president on criminal charges including fraud and incitement to insurrection. The headquarters of Germany's Federal Intelligence Service, or BND, finds itself in the spotlight amidst revelations one of its own agents has been accused of passing secrets to Russia. The alleged mole, a German citizen only identified as Carsten L., was arrested in Berlin on Wednesday, according to federal prosecutors. The BND says the man's apartment was searched as well as that of a second unnamed person. It's claimed a state secret acquired in his professional activity as a spy had been passed to Russia's intelligence service. The agency launched its own internal investigation before calling in federal prosecutors.
With reforms that inspired
Greek politician and former Vice President of the European Parliament Eva Kaili will be held in detention for another month following a decision by a court in Belgium.
the challenges that even European companies.
Kaili is suspected of being at the center of one of the EU's biggest corruption scandals, and her lawyers had requested her release from prison with an electronic tracking device. Her legal team has now 24 hours to appeal this decision. Kaili has been in custody since the 9th of December with her partner Francesco Giorgi, who is also jailed. The two are suspected of working together, along with others, to funnel bribes from Qatar and Morocco to parliamentarians in exchange for influence on EU policy.
And I have convened an extraordinary...
Qatar has strongly denied these allegations, while Morocco has yet to respond. The scandal came to public attention earlier this month after police launched more than 20 raids across Belgium and Italy. Hundreds of thousands of euros were recovered at a home and in a suitcase at a hotel in Brussels.
Germany's first 2 liquefied natural gas terminals have begun test operations as the country attempts to rapidly move away from Russian energy supplies. Meanwhile, a shipment of 140,000 cubic meters of liquefied natural gas arrived in the port city of Lumin from Egypt. The terminal was built in just under 10 months, and Germany is hoping to build 3 more by the end of next year. Some climate critics have criticized the government, saying that it should move away from fossil fuels at the same speed that they constructed the terminals.
An unofficial strike by rail ticket inspectors in France, where inflation is 6%, means cancellation for a third of SNCF services this weekend. Staff are reportedly unhappy with a 12% pay deal. Passengers are using car shares or coaches instead. Christmas plans disrupted by industrial action. British paramedics are planning a second walkout on December the 28th. In England and Wales, NHS staff have been offered an average 4.5% wage hike. Inflation is 9.3%. Ambulance staff aren't the only ones striking. Further industrial action is planned by Border Force officers, Heathrow baggage handlers and postal workers in the UK's winter of pay discontent.
Applause and shouts of joy in the Scottish Parliament, but they could be short-lived, as the UK government in Westminster threatens to block new gender recognition legislation. Passed on Thursday by 86 to 39 votes, the bill could allow people as young as 16 to change their gender through self-declaration, without the need of a medical certificate, making it the first country in the UK to do so. Scottish MPs argue it will make the lives of the country's transgender community easier.
Removing the need for medical diagnosis for a trans person who wants to legally change their gender is actually one of the purposes of this legislation, because the need for that is one of the most intrusive, traumatic and dehumanising parts of the current system.
But the UK's Scotland Minister Alistair Jack has said that he could prevent the bill from reaching royal assent, backing critics who have claimed it could endanger women in same-sex spaces, such as domestic abuse shelters. Others have raised concerns it could cause legal chaos and gender tourism within the UK. Meanwhile, in Spain, a similar bill resulted in a round of hugs by LGBTQ+ activists, as the country's lower house also passed a law allowing people older than 16 years old to change their legal gender marker without medical supervision. A move that some transgender rights groups have said represents a before and after moment in LGBTQ+ rights in the country. The legislation will now move on to Spain's Senate for final approval.
Austrians are buying smaller Christmas gifts or skipping them altogether this year. The country's trade association says spending on presents is down 15% on last year.
Because everything has become expensive, I buy something small for my children, nothing big.
Elmira's bills for energy and housing have more than doubled in recent months. Originally from Ukraine, the mother of 6 is one of many who depends on financial support from NGOs due to inflation.
Betroffen sind insbesondere Alleinerzieherinnen.
Single parents, primarily women, are particularly affected. Also those who have little income, including, of course, many migrants who often have jobs with lower salaries.
Familien, die hier auch schlechte Jobs haben mit geringer Bezahlung.
The slow Christmas business is causing long faces in the retail sector. Industry representative Rainer Will warns of rising unemployment. On the one side, retail expenses are exploding, and on the other side, revenues are declining because purchasing power is failing to materialise. We simply have to optimise by reducing branches, and 1/3 of retailers will reduce staff. In order to relieve the population, Austria's government has spent billions on anti-inflation measures. However, economists criticise that the money has not been distributed in a targeted way. High incomes would even benefit more than low incomes. Johannes Pleshberger, Euronews, Vienna.